So forget Messi and Ronaldo, they're old news now. If we want to find out who the best goal scorer in world football is, it's all about Mbappe versus Haaland. So let's see who is the best. Hi guys, I'm Aussie Villain and welcome to the Manager's Seat. It's a very special guest appearance by myself, and maybe we'll see if it's special or not, I suppose, but a big thank you to the guy for letting me take your seat here. Very, very comfortable seat it is as well. Now, if you're not familiar with me, my name is Aussie Villain. I do have a YouTube channel of my own. Now, I'm sure the fellas will put a link down in the description, but if if you are new to me and you want to see a little bit more of me after I'm done this for some reason, then by all means, go and check me out, and I do all sort of football manager stuff and some other sport management games as well. But this is all about finding out who is the better goal scorer between Haaland and Mbappe. Now, the way we're going to do this is they're going to play a season with their current teams. We're then going to switch them over, and they're going to play the same season. So Mbappe at City and Haaland at PSG. Now, if we compare them directly here, they're both very, very similar. The big difference, though, obviously, is aerially. Haaland's in a different planet to Mbappe. They're not even close. You got a little bit quicker is Mbappe, a little bit better vision, a little bit better technically, but by no means does he blow Haaland out of the water the same way that Haaland does aerially. So let's go and see how they got on with one season at their current teams. So we'll start with Erling Haaland at Manchester City, and Manchester City are second in the league, 89 points, 1 point behind Liverpool. We can see that Erling Haaland got 19 goals in the league, but Ollie Watkins, go on, son. But yeah, so we can see that he didn't top the goal scoring charts. Is that going to be fatal towards his chances here? We'll find out momentarily. But let's see, other than in the league, how they got on with did Manchester City. Now in the League Cup, they went all the way to the final, where they lost 1-0 to Liverpool. Not really a make or break, is it? I don't think there's even a comparison to the League Cup in France. So we'll give Haaland that one, but let's see how he got on in the FA Cup. So in the FA Cup, it was the quarterfinals. Now, it was a 2-1 loss at home to Newcastle. Now, Newcastle, obviously, a very different club these days than they were even just a season or two ago, but still, at home, you would be disappointed as a Manchester City fan, wouldn't you, to get knocked out there? So let's see how Europe went for Manchester City and Haaland. And we can see it here, second from the top, it was defeat in the round of 16 to Barcelona. Now, Barcelona, not a terrible team, certainly football manager-wise with the players they have. It's not maybe a shocking defeat, but I tell you what, he hasn't left a very high watermark for Mbappe at Manchester City, as we can see just below there that Paris did get through. So we'll go and check how much further they went momentarily. But Erling Haaland as an individual, if we just maybe zoom in on the stats down here, we can see 27 goals, 8 assists, an average match rating of 7.46. So 27 goals from 53 games. I'm going to go on a limb and say that's slightly disappointing from Erling Haaland. You would expect better than 1 in 2 from him. It's not even quite, is it 1 in 2? It is just 1 in 2, isn't it? So yeah, I'm going to go and say disappointing from Haaland, but let's see how Mbappe did at Paris Saint-Germain. So already it's looking a little bit better for Mbappe, because Paris Saint-Germain won the league, of course, doesn't really say much. You'd expect them to. 92 points, so we'll see how that compares to Haaland when we switch them over. He was top goal scorer in the league as well with 25, but that's obviously not a definitive tally for him. That is just in the league, but considering Haaland got 27 all up, it's not looking good for old Erling here, is it? But anyway, let's go and see how Paris got on in the it's a Coupe de France, isn't it? So it's defeat in the final, 1-0 to Monaco. So that is going to be disappointing, isn't it? But you know, these things are decided in Europe usually, aren't they? So let's go see how Paris Saint-Germain did there. Oh, and it was a penalty shootout defeat to Real Madrid. Now, the big question, I suppose, is did he score in that final? And not only did he not score, he missed the penalty that was decisive. So, yeah, that's not a great final for Mbappe. But still, you've got to say, if you compare Mbappe, what he did at PSG to what Haaland did at City, it's quite comprehensive. Mbappe, over the course of the year, he managed 36 goals, so that's an extra, 9 goals, 8 assists, which is about the same, and a 7.42 average rating, which is, again, about the same. But goals win games, don't they? And Mbappe scored more goals. Let's switch them over now, and let's see how they did at each other's clubs. Okay, so let's start with Manchester City and Mbappe this time as opposed to Haaland. Now, Manchester City won the league, but with only 85 points, which is less points than what they got with Erling Haaland. So maybe a little bit unlucky there. But again, I mean, winning trophies is what it's about, and Mbappe's won a trophy there. Now, he's not in the top 3 goal scorers, which is maybe surprising, but we'll have a bit better look at those individual stats momentarily. Let's see how City got on in the Carabao Cup. And it was defeat in the final. So they got to the final, weren't able to get a result. It was Cancelo that got the goal, not Mbappe. So went further than Haaland did, but ultimately just went further to lose. Let's see how the FA Cup played out for City. And again, it was the final, but a little bit of a thumping when they got there. 3-0, Liverpool have won that. Let's see how City did in Europe, though. Of course, round of 16 with Haaland leading the line. And, well, apparently Mbappe doesn't do well against Monaco, which is his former club, of course, isn't it? But 2-1, they got beaten in the semi-final there. And, yeah, well, Mbappe did get the Manchester City goal, but it doesn't make any difference because they've been knocked out anyway. So it means it's a Monaco-Arsenal final. We've got to have a look at who won that, don't we? And it was 2-0 to Arsenal. So Arsenal are the Champions League champions in Season 1. Unbelievable. All right, let's go see how Mbappe did personally. And it was only 20 goals, only 9 assists as well. So it's not like he was setting up a load, and scoring less from that reason. A 748 average rating, so that's again about the same as he had at City and Haaland had at City and he had at PSG. But he has scored, 16 goals less playing for Manchester City than he did for PSG, which is really, really interesting, isn't it? Let's go and see how Haaland got on at PSG. Maybe they just score more goals there. So it is a trophy to start things off for Erling Haaland, 88 points as well, so similar points to what they got with Mbappe there. So yeah, good start, and we see Haaland 24 goals, so he's already almost got more than he did playing for Manchester City. So you do just score more goals, perhaps unsurprisingly when you consider the league that they're playing in. Let's go see how Paris Saint-Germain got on in the Coupe de France with Haaland up front. Oh, and it was defeat in the final, a 1-0 defeat. So neither team, because they didn't win it with Mbappe, did they either? So yeah, Paris Saint-Germain falling in the final with both players. So that's about even. They both lost the final. They both won the league. Let's see how Europe went. So it is quarter-final elimination, 3-2 in aggregate against Bayern Munich. Now, obviously, with Mbappe, they went all the way to the final. So obviously, this isn't the final, it's the quarter-final. But he did a little bit better around it. Went around further than he did with Manchester City. So that doesn't look good for Haaland, does it? Let's check his individual stats. So he scored 30 goals, 7 assists, an average match rating of 7.53, which is the highest so far. So he only scored 3 less goals at City than he did at Paris, compared to the 16 that Mbappe scored less. But when you look at trophies won, they both won the league with Paris, which is, you kind of say, a given. But only Mbappe won the league with Manchester City. Mbappe got to more finals. I don't know. You let me know what you think in the comments, who you're giving this to. I think you've got to give it to Mbappe. He got the job done. He scored more goals at PSG. Yes, he scored less at Manchester City, but he won the league with Manchester City. So I'm going to say I'm giving it to Mbappe, but you let me know in the comments who you think has been the better player here. But make sure if you've enjoyed that, you hit thumbs up. If you are new to the manager's seat, make sure you are subscribing to them. And if you're new to me, come and check me out and see if you want to see any more of me, if you like what I do. There's a lot of this, daily stuff from me. So until next time, guys, if you want to see more of this as well, maybe leave us suggestions who you'd like to see, which players compared. And if the guys will have me back, I'm more than happy to do more of them. Take care, guys.